Hey guys, it's Jordan from Weller Health Education with Lehigh Valley Hospital. Some of you may know me from coming into your classrooms and talking about different health topics. Now, things are a little bit different. You may have seen our YouTube videos on stress, exercise, and nutrition. We are safe at home. You guys are hopefully safe at home. As you can see, I'm in my backyard right now, so I am safe at home. And I know that circumstances really aren't ideal. So today's topic is going to be about anger management because anger can be heightened during this time. You may have more outbursts than normal. You may be more upset than you usually are. So today we're going to talk about what anger is, how to handle your anger immediately but also long term. We're going to talk about different types of anger and then what to do when someone else is angry. Because sometimes it's not your anger that's the problem, but it's other people's. And I think that's really important to talk about as well. So let's get started. Anger is a normal emotion, and anger can be really good. It tells us that something is wrong and usually comes with other emotions and can vary from person to person and from situation to situation. Handling your anger appropriately can help you overcome your problems, reach your goals, stay healthy, and feel better about yourself. So what causes anger? So anger is caused by a lot of different things. Maybe it's stress, frustration, fear, annoyance, abuse, unfairness, disappointment, and resentment are all common feelings and emotions that are associated with anger. There are also some common triggers as well. Some things that may trigger an outburst could be things that are going on at school or home, maybe going through puberty, maybe being confused in different social situations, stress or hunger can cause outbursts, or maybe some form of abuse, whether it's bullying, maybe somebody is bothering you at home, or maybe someone in your neighborhood. All of those things could lead or trigger to an outburst of anger. It is perfectly okay to feel angry, but it is important that we learn how to handle our anger appropriately so it doesn't impact our lives in a negative way. So I did want to just give you guys a little bit of the science on how anger occurs in our body, just a little bit of background info because I do think that it's really interesting. So anger forms in the amygdala, which is located inside of the temporal lobe. It's kind of shaped like an almond. It's very, very small. And the main function of the amygdala is to process our emotions and our body, and it does play a role in behavior. So this is really important when it comes to managing our anger. Another thing to note is that our brain is not fully developed until we're in our mid-20s, so it is a lot harder to manage and control your anger when you are a teenager versus when you are an adult, and that's just because our brain can't appropriately respond to some of those hormones that are being released from our amygdala. So it's important to create good habits surrounding anger in order to avoid outbursts or being too angry to actually contain. There are a bunch of different types of anger, and we're going to talk about 6 of them today just to start to get familiar with the different ways that anger is impacting the people around you. So there is chronic anger, which is prolonged and impacts the immune system, and it can cause things like depression and anxiety. And chronic anger affects 11% of teens. So this is something that's affecting about 1 in 10 of the teenagers that are around you. So maybe, 1 in 10 of your classmates, 1 in 10 when it comes to people in your grade. So look at it that way. It really is affecting a lot of people that you may know. The next type of anger that we're going to discuss is called overwhelmed anger. So overwhelmed anger is caused by life demands that are too much for an individual to handle. So basically, when you have a lot of things on your plate, when you're really stressed out, you're overwhelmed by what's going on in your life. And 31% of teens admitted to feeling overwhelmed in the past month. And I know that the current circumstances in the world are not helping that situation, but being overwhelmed can really add to your anger and it can add to your outbursts. Next, we have self-inflicted anger. So self-inflicted anger is directed towards oneself, and it happens when you're feeling guilty or maybe you have low self-esteem. An estimated 15% of teenagers have self-harm due to having those overwhelming self-inflicted anger feelings. So this is really scary. This is a really big number, and it's something that we do want to talk about because we don't want anybody to hurt themselves, whether they're feeling sad, hurt, angry, no matter what those feelings are. We don't want anyone to hurt themselves. So if you are feeling this way, please talk to an adult about the way that you're feeling so we can get you guys the help that you need. Judgmental anger is anger that's directed towards others. It creates resentment or jealousy, and it may cause you to put other people down or verbally abuse them. So judgmental anger comes from maybe being upset that somebody has something that you don't, or because they look or act differently than you do. And it's because you're judging them, or maybe you're jealous of them, or you resent what they have or who they have in their lives. So judgmental anger is something that is affecting a lot of teenagers, and it does lead to those verbal put-downs. Explosive anger is next. So explosive anger triggers spontaneous, excessive anger and raging. So close to 6 million teens actually meet the criteria for explosive anger, but only about 7% actually get treatment. So this is really scary because having explosive outbursts can be really dangerous for not only yourself, but the people around you. So this would be yelling, screaming, hitting, abusing other people physically and verbally, maybe doing things you would never do, but because you're so angry, you're acting out of character. So explosive anger is really, really dangerous. And the last one that we're going to talk about today is called retaliatory anger. So retaliatory anger is directed towards individuals or organizations that an individual feels have quote unquote wronged them. So somebody that they're mad at, somebody they feel mistreated by, they feel like, they were treated poorly or unfairly, and they're trying to get back at the person, so they direct their anger that way. 25% of anger incidents involve thoughts of revenge, involve those thoughts of getting back at other people. So I know that we aren't in the classroom and we are at home. Maybe you're watching this because your teacher assigned it to you or sent it to you, or maybe you got the link somehow. But I want you guys to think of things that make you angry. Think of situations where you felt really angry, maybe you felt enraged, and think about how that made you feel in those moments, and then think about the way that you handled the situation. Was it positive or was it negative? And then I want you to think of your anger in terms of temperature. So over on the left, I have a feelings thermometer, and I think that this is a really great way to help you understand your anger, because sometimes things are going to make you mad or upset, and on a scale of 1 to 10, you might be a 4 or 5. Like, you're still in control, you know that you're angry, you understand your feelings, and it's just about right around there. But maybe something's making you mad and you're starting to heat up. Maybe you're starting to boil. Maybe you are at a 9 or a 10 and you feel like you're ready to explode. You're losing control of your body. You feel like you can't handle what's going on around you. So I think that understanding it in terms of temperature, or on a scale of 1 to 10, can really help you understand where you're at on that anger slide. And maybe you don't understand anger. Maybe you don't understand when you're angry, or it's hard for you to tell. So just some ways to be able to tell when you're angry. There's going to be different physical things that happen to your body. So maybe you start to get sweaty, or maybe you start to get red in the face. You start to breathe very heavily. Your muscles are tense. Maybe your fists start to clench. You're yelling, you're screaming, or raising your voice. You feel the urge to hit something or someone, which we know is never the answer. But sometimes when you're that angry, you may feel those things. And those are all just warning signs on how you know that you're starting to heat up. You're starting to get very, very angry. Some ways to handle your anger immediately. When you're angry, you need to try to take steps to get back into control. Maybe start by taking a time out, walking away from the situation, taking some deep breaths. Try to relax and use I statements. So instead of saying, you made me feel this way, or you did this to me, kind of turn it back on you and say, well, I feel this way because. Kind of take control of that situation, take the blame off other people, and just explain how you're feeling. Nobody can make you feel anything. So use those I statements. Ask for help. Talk about it. try to remain calm. Maybe count to 3 or count to 10 while taking those deep breaths. And try to avoid negative reactions that could happen right away, which I know is really hard, but these are just some steps you can take in the heat of the moment. How to handle your anger long term. So there are tons of things that you can do when you're angry, especially if you are at home. Maybe those things we just talked about happens when you are in a social situation, when you're at school, when you don't have access to books or the TV or going for a walk, when you're stuck in situations where you just have to handle things internally with yourself. But things you can do afterwards when you have more time or where you're in a better place. Maybe you like to exercise. Maybe you like to play sports or go outside and play. Maybe you like to listen to music or read books or do art or color or draw. Writing in a journal. Writing things down can really help get things off your chest. Maybe you like to watch TikTok videos. I know that recently when I was feeling upset and angry, TikTok is something that I think is very funny. I find myself laughing and just being in an overall better mood when I watch those videos. I'm actually going to put a video up here for you guys to watch just because I thought it was cute and I watched it this morning before I filmed this video. And I thought that maybe it could help you guys out. Maybe you like to go on YouTube and watch YouTube videos. Watching Netflix or Hulu or just any type of TV can also help kind of take your mind off things, maybe help you relax. Some people like to go for walks or runs. Some people like to walk their dog or just maybe an animal or maybe a family pet, hang out with them. Some people like to do yoga or meditate or just take deep breaths in general. Deep breathing can really help naturally relax your body. And some people like to sleep or take naps. So there are tons of things that you can do to manage your anger. And they're all going to be things that you enjoy doing. Things that are going to improve your mood and just naturally make you feel happier. We want to make sure that these things are positive, that they are not hurting yourself or anyone around you, or maybe breaking the law or anything like that. So make sure that they are good, positive things that you are doing. The 3 don'ts of anger. So these are things that we should always avoid when it comes to handling our anger. So number 1 is we don't want to bottle it up. Some people will keep their anger bottled up and will avoid saying anything and just walking away when they're mad. This usually doesn't work because the problem doesn't go away on its own. And then when you think about what happened, you just get angrier and angrier, and over time, your anger may turn into resentment because you never solved the problem, and you just may feel worse and worse. So it's important that you don't bottle it up, and you try to talk about what's going on in an appropriate and calm manner. The second don't of anger is don't get defensive. If you react too quickly to anger, you may express hostility or aggression towards others. Maybe you put your hands on somebody, you push them, you punch them, you hit them, you kick them. Maybe you're verbally abusive and you're yelling and screaming at them. And when you come across somebody that is hostile or aggressive, that other person is probably going to respond negatively towards you because of the way that you're treating them. So it's only going to heighten the situation. It's only going to make things worse. Now, if you approach that situation and you're calm and you just ask them to talk about what's going on, things may go in a positive direction because they see that you're calm, that you're willing to talk and discuss what's going on. So they too might also be calm and things might get solved. You might be able to figure out what's going on and get to the bottom of it and then find a solution that works best for both of you. The third don't of anger is lashing out. So this is something we never want to do. Physical or verbal aggression is never the best response to a situation, no matter how angry you are. Acting out aggressively usually gets you in trouble at school or at home or maybe even with the police. It can also create problems between people you care about, and it doesn't solve any of your problems in the long run. like I said, it's probably only going to make things worse for you. So it's better that we don't lash out no matter how badly we want to. We need to learn to take control of that anger and find something to replace that anger in the moment. Like I said, things we can do immediately, like counting to 10, taking deep breaths. Maybe we do need to walk away and come back after we've calmed down a little bit. So most importantly, avoid lashing out at the other person. What are some things that can happen when you don't handle your anger appropriately? So it can affect your physical health. Maybe you have headaches, trouble sleeping, maybe it hurts your stomach, increases your heart rate or your blood pressure. There are tons of different physical health effects that anger can have on your body. Maybe it affects your decision making. You have problems at school. Maybe you're getting in a lot of trouble. Your grades start to slip. People might begin to form negative opinions of you because you are so angry and you don't handle it appropriately. Maybe it affects the way that you're feeling mentally. Maybe keeping your thoughts and feelings bottled up creates more and more anger. Maybe you start to feel unhappy and you lose interest in things you usually enjoy. Maybe it leads to things like anxiety or depression. Some people turn to using drugs or alcohol, which we know is never a good way to cope with what's going on in your life. No matter how angry you are, turning to drugs or alcohol will only have negative consequences and probably actually add to your anger. You might also have problems in relationships. You may end up insulting or criticizing or threatening people who are close to you. Maybe those people don't want to be close with you anymore. They don't want to be your friend because of how poorly you're starting to treat them. Maybe you have low self-esteem because of your anger. You have trouble managing your anger. You may feel badly about yourself. Maybe you start to put yourself down. You just have feelings of low self-worth. And that doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make anything better. So if we're not handling our anger appropriately, these things could possibly happen. I just wanted to add some signs of how you know if your anger does begin to cause a lot of problems. How do you know that your anger is a problem? When your anger becomes too frequent, you're angry all of the time, it starts to become too intense. You're noticing your anger has been heightened more and more. Maybe it lasts too long. It's really hard for you to calm down. It's hard for you to kind of get out of that red zone when you're boiling. Maybe your anger leads to aggression. So you're realizing you're getting really mad, you're getting really angry, and when that happens, you're starting to hit things, you're starting to throw things, you're starting to break things. So your anger is leading to those aggressive moments. And another reason you can see that your anger is a problem is it just disrupts your schoolwork or your relationships or just disrupting the people that you care about. So that's how we can kind of know that our anger is a really big problem in our lives. And one thing I do want to mention is sometimes it's not our anger that's a problem. Maybe it's somebody else's anger. Maybe somebody that we're really close to or somebody that we care about is always angry, and that can be really difficult for us to handle. When we're dealing with other people's anger, we want to start by keeping our cool. That person may be really angry and upset, and if we respond with anger, it's only going to make things worse. So I know that it's really hard to keep your cool when somebody's yelling and screaming and maybe even threatening you, but we want to start by just keeping our cool, trying to stay calm. Try not to take it personally and try to understand why that person is angry. Sometimes they're angry for something that doesn't even involve you. So don't take it personally. Just try to listen to them and hear them out, hear their side of the story. And if you yourself feel like you're getting too angry to kind of control yourself, maybe you just need to say, hey, I understand you're upset. Maybe I just need to take a quick time out and we can come back and I'll continue to listen to you. Sometimes that person just needs to blow off steam and get everything off their chest, but it can also be really difficult for you to listen to. So listen to them, let them express their feelings, let them know that you're there for them, you understand why they're angry, and then think of solutions. Try to help them, try to offer them any advice you can offer them. Maybe say, hey, when I'm angry, this is what works for me. But most importantly, just try not to take it personally. Again, like I said, most of the time, they're just angry for some reason. Maybe they are taking it out on you and they don't mean to. which is why it's so important to stay calm and try to talk to them about the situation. So that concludes our video on managing your anger. Hopefully you guys learned something new. Maybe next time you are feeling angry, you try one of the things that we talked about to try to calm yourself down. Hopefully release some of that anger in a positive way, a way that you can manage. So I hope that you guys have a great day. I hope that you are staying safe at home, and remember to wash your hands.
I've got 40 seconds to tell you something sweet. You mean the entire world to me. Even when we're far apart, just know I keep you in my heart. I hope you think of me. I just want a hand to hold, yeah, that's all I need. 'Cause it's all the little things that mean the most to me. A ray of sun or a bird singing in the trees, or the simple steps it takes to make us safe and clean. We've only got a few seconds left, so keep it short and sweet. Wash your hands for 40 seconds, please.